The word for a group of ladybirds is a loveliness, but England cricket fans may have used a few other terms when a swarm of the insects stopped play. That was during a test match at Lord's this week.
Ladybird numbers are on the rise this summer in certain areas as a result of the warmer weather. Our reporter Crispin Rolfe can explain more.
The game has come to a halt. Some sort of insect invasion at Lord's by the looks of it.
They're ladybirds, Aggers. It's a swarm.
Yeah, I thought I saw a ladybird.
Normally only rain stops playing the cricket, but this year things could be different. Yes, an influx of ladybirds, in numbers potentially so significant that they haven't been seen since 1976.
While China and Italy were shaken by earthquakes, we fought ladybirds on the beaches and on the home front.
With scenes like this in Hull and the Lincolnshire coast. And in Cleethorpes today, the mere mention of a ladybird brought back memories.
The sea wall was absolutely covered in ladybirds. They were everywhere. You couldn't move, they were all on the floor, and they were biting as well, which was really uncomfortable.
No bit, yeah, they did. Very hard, yeah, that's what I remember.
I'm from Newcastle, and our pavements were just littered with them everywhere, all over.
How bad were the ladybirds?
Really bad. Covered the prams and everything.
Now, a gentleman should never reveal his age, but my parents will always tell me that they carried me out of a hailstorm of ladybirds as a baby whilst fleeing a Norfolk beach. And it's memories like those that many people still hark back to, just in case there's a ladybird passing by. And if there is, they won't be the same species of ladybird, they'll be harlequins instead, an invasive species which was brought over in 2004 to keep control of greenfly. Does that make this a bad thing? Well, according to Crystal at Bugtopia in Hornsey, it shows that the UK's vital insect population is bouncing back.
If there's that many ladybirds, it means that the rest of the insects are doing well because they feed on other insects. It does kind of show us, really, it's a good thing. Slightly annoying if you end up with a horde of them in your house, but it is a good thing.
Of course, they're not called a horde collectively, rather a loveliness of ladybirds. But whether we'll all agree on that by the end of summer remains to be seen. Crispin Rolfe, BBC News.
So with us in the studio is Dr Ben Clunie, who's an entomologist at Harper University. Ben, do you approve of our enormous pictures of ladybirds? I don't know if we can see them up here.
Yeah,
they are just,
excellent.
I mean, they are amazing little creatures, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It tends to be why we get one of these headlines every few years, whether it's about ladybirds or some other sort of insect. It tends to be quite sensationalist, which from my point of view, who is obviously looking at these things every day, thinks they're absolutely wonderful, is slightly devastating. So hopefully we can try and correct that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the moment you're talking about is that moment when the cricket is stopped because there's an invasion. And that prompts everyone to go, well, what's happening? Why is that happening? Help us with that.
Well, use one of the words there. So invasion, for example. Invasion, swarm, one of the media outlets, not the BBC, called it an attack on the players. And their ladybirds is very much not that sort of thing. And the reason for it, in a nutshell, is the warm weather, which is obviously fantastic in one point of view. But for insects being so incredibly small, the weather can affect them quite immediately. So the warmer it is, the quicker they can complete their life cycle. And it's not necessarily for the ladybirds, but their food source, which is predominantly aphids.
So why in that particular moment, and we're talking about that the cricket match, why would they be in that place at that time? Why would it draw them?
So it's really all of the resources that they need to complete their life cycle are locally available, basically. And once insects begin to aggregate in large enough numbers, similarly to bees swarming, they migrate to find new resources because they won't be available when they were. So it could just be circumstances, but there happens to be a large green patch that looks pretty enticing, and they settle down.
You don't think of ladybirds. You think of, I don't know, bees in a swarm, don't you?
Yeah.
That's when you associate. You don't think of ladybirds like that. Is that a natural kind of...
Yeah, it's absolutely natural.
Behaviour?
Absolutely natural. I mean, if you just quickly search, if anyone was to quickly search online, you see this happens periodically.
Right.
So one of the more famous examples is in that heatwave of 1976. And obviously we didn't have, a lot of media like we do today. and people are obviously quite confused. But 2016, 2009, similar sorts of things happening. All of these ladybirds are appearing, and it's because of these aphids appearing in such large numbers.
Can I get you to bust some ladybird myths?
I can try.
Can you tell how old a ladybird is by the number of dots on its back?
No. So the number of dots on the back is normally indicative of the species of ladybird.
OK. Are the yellow ones poisonous?
No, you probably shouldn't eat most insects. Obviously, a lot of the...
I meant them biting. I wasn't thinking about eating them, but I meant them biting.
Well, yeah, that shows how our minds work slightly differently, really. No, and they're not going to bite you. This word attack is very much, putting the wrong idea in people's heads. If a ladybird lands on you, it's normally just because you're a convenient perch.
I've been nipped by a ladybird.
I would probably refute that.
Honestly, I was nipped. No, I don't think it's a common thing, but I definitely was nipped.
So what they're there to do is obtain resources to help them, and they're not going to eat you. What they might be doing is trying to obtain sweat, for example.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
I was sweating and playing golf, so it was very hot.
It's very, very hot. Their food is abundant, but water is not. And so they're landing on people, maybe obtaining sweat as a water source.
Are they good luck, ladybirds? This is fact, obviously.
Yeah, when they land on you.
Is it good luck? Yeah. Like, if it lands on your hand, is that good luck?
So that, again, is perspective. From my point of view, if any insect lands on you, it's good luck, whether it's a wasp, a ladybird, or whatever.
Because you like it.
Because I like
you're just
it.
happy.
Yeah. So one of the few people that sort of let a horsefly land on them and happily let it do its thing while it...
Would you?
While it carries there. Yeah, every now and then, just to get the picture.
And anyone in the garden, because I think they're beautiful and I love seeing, what are they attracted to at this time of year in terms of if you want to encourage more insects in the garden?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, this is a fantastic opportunity for people to see these things and then engage more with them. And the biggest thing in your garden is just trying to let it go a bit more natural. So we have these things like no mow May, and I'm not necessarily saying, let your garden become a jungle, because that's just not practical for everyone, especially if you have kids, for example. But you do have little areas that you can leave to encourage these insects. It's not just important for them to have their food sources, but also to have things like shelter as well. So if you see aphids on your roses, don't necessarily try and get rid of them immediately, but just encourage those ladybirds in.
How come they ended up with such a lovely name of loveliness? How come that happened?
So I slightly embarrassed myself yesterday with a call from your researcher, because we don't deal in collective nouns, particularly when I'm talking to the students. So that was one that was slightly over my head. But collective nouns, just not entirely sure where their origin comes from. But in terms of the name ladybird, the etymology is slightly disputed in some ways. They believe that the term lady refers to the Virgin Mary. In terms of the term bird, that's a nickname potentially for historical figures, but really it's that colour red that just gave them, quite a noticeable appearance.
Really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Ben Clunie, Senior Lecturer, Applied Entomology at Harper University.